Why, hello there. This is DJartt of the High Score 510 podcast. First of all, I would like to thank you for listening to our show. Second of all, I want to remind you with a shameless plug of our Patreon page. Join our growing community and help support an indie podcast. The perks of being a patron, you ask? Number 1, you'll get our weekly quick hitters. Number 2, you'll get feature conversations that are too hot for our regular show. And number 3, we cannot leave out number 3. Why, Jesus will bless you. So go check out patreon.com/highscore510. And for the price of a tall pumpkin spice latte, you can help Captain P-Funk finally afford that Merlot Broham. Regardless of which, we appreciate your support and hope you enjoy the show.
You are listening to High Score 510, where sports is the plane, comedy is the pilot, and the sweet Chiba is our jet fuel. Please sit back and enjoy the ride.
Any final thoughts on the DC thing? Any final takeaways that y'all have?
Yeah, I just had a question. When all that shit was going on, I was wondering where the hell's the DC sniper at?
Come on.
I needed that motherfucker laying down in the trunk of that car. Just whoop, 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 whoop. He would have. The DC sniper would have took out more people than the damn Capitol Police did. He would have did a better job.
And he was targeting white people.
Him and that damn kid. That's what they should have called him. They were like, "Hey man, can we try to convince Trump to call it the Senate National Guard? Nah, we don't need him. Just get the DC sniper and get what kind of car was he in, Pedro?
He was in I think it's Chevy Caprice.
Yeah, it was a Caprice. A modified Caprice where he can lay down and no one can notice with the hole in the trunk.
Yeah. The Capitol Police had the riot shields from the first Black Ops.
Milt, good seeing you. Last time I saw you was
last time
we were in person.
That's what I said. Last time he was alive.
You had to drive me home.
It was the last in-person show right before the lockdown.
Hey, what's up, Pedro?
Kept wearing masks.
What's up, Milt?
We haven't met before, but I've heard you a whole bunch of times on
I
stuff.
I thought we
were
met
on an episode. You were on episode together.
Oh no, I'm tripping. I got mixed up with the start of that pod versus the finish of that pod.
He was on that Tank That episode.
Bro, that shit had me screwed. Never again. Never again.
I told y'all about just doing all that weird stuff Jared be introducing you to.
That was mezcal and tink and Lord of mercy.
No, beer and regular weed. That's how I go at.
That's all. That's
sounds like the recipe.
Just go regular drinking. If you go drink, go regular drinking.
Smoking that dope, doing that coke.
Come on, man.
Gang banging. That's my jam. I might start bumping that as I drive to work every day.
I don't know, between that and Smokey said, what was it? Chinooka.
I don't know what that is. But happy Chinooka.
Happy Chinooka. He said it like 3 or 4 times. That's the crazy part. Like if I don't know a word and I'm like questioning, did I say that right? I'm gonna like mumble it and then never say it again the rest of the time. Yeah, I hope you enjoy your holidays. I'll be using holidays like crazy.
Yeah, he's fully committed. He's like, man, I'm on Cameo. I hope you have a lovely time.
For Milt.
Here you go, Milt. You ain't seen this, Milt?
No, I just didn't know you
Marco,
were sharing screen.
How you doing?
That's awesome.
Surprise, surprise. This is Smokey Robinson. I know you didn't expect to hear from me, but I was contacted by your sons, Jeff and Jared, and they told me that you used to live in Detroit across the street from me, and gosh, that's beautiful. How you doing again? Nice talking to you again, I guess. But anyway, you're living in Vancouver now, and they wanted me to wish you happy Chinooka. I have no idea what Chinooka is, but happy Chinooka because they said so. Anyway, God bless you, babe, and enjoy Chinooka. Have a wonderful time.
Because why did he just look it up? I can't understand why he just didn't look it up.
He didn't have a handler.
Can you look up how much Smokey Robinson cameo is? I want to know how much these brothers paid for this cameo.
That was like, it was a 45-second video. It probably was
$2,000. That's what AB was doing. He was doing like 25 for a birthday shout out.
People were paying, and he was blowing them too. He was just saying random stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't even long.
Bro.
And he was like, he was in a swimming pool.
Here go Antonio Brown's.
Happy 38th birthday. And I hear this your second anniversary wedding. I hear you've been working really hard as a defense attorney, and your birthday is here. Happy birthday. We celebrate you today. Hope your birthday is booming.
That's when he was going with that full Jabril Cisse look. He's got the dyed mustache looking.
You think he would have, especially if he was doing a cameo for someone that's a defense attorney, he would have got that one, did that one well. Like, hey man, I might need you in the future. So just keep, you know what? DM me, right?
I'm gonna do this one pro bono. I'm gonna do this one pro bono as long as you take care of me later on.
We're gonna have to have some conversations later on.
How much do y'all think the Chanukah video cost the people who ordered it initially?
I think it was like 5 G's, bro.
It was like $500.
I'll give y'all a hint. We got to have a baseline. I was off. I was way off.
I thought it was probably like $200 to $500.
No, I think I'm going
to 300. I'm gonna go 300.
I'm gonna cheat on this because I think I know.
Yeah,
I think it's $150.
You got 150. AG, which one you picking?
300. 300. 300.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with 300.
I'm going 5 G's. Smokey, man.
That's what turquoise Jeep charges. That's a little steep. I saw this online. Someone paid $400 from what I found. $400.
Wow.
It says nearly, so my guess was like $399, right?
How much would it cost for him to have him sing a live version of this though?
Wasting your time, drinking that wine, smoking that smoke, doing that coke, dealing that dope, giving up hope, gang banging, gang banging, gang banging.
Wow. It looked like he got members of my church to do the video.
I'm telling you, he probably did.
I can't believe how good he looks, though.
Man, Aaron,
what?
I was thinking about this week, and I was a little disappointed that you wasn't upset at Smokey Robinson how good his hairline looked in that video.
You know what? Like I said, because Smokey, I'd get mad. But the closer to my age really upset me more than someone older. And like I said, I believe Smokey Robinson made some deal. I don't want to say the devil, maybe Barry Gordy, somebody. He made a deal. Think about it. Everybody at Motown dead except him. Except him. He sung at everybody's funeral. People younger than him. He sung at their funeral.
To have green eyes and a hairline like that?
You know what? He stopped drinking the water to Detroit at the right time. Where he got all the positives and none of the cons. Every Temptation, Four Tops, groups are gone. Diana Ross holding on. Everybody else is dead. And Smokey's still sitting here singing. He wrote songs for Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, and he's still looking good.
So are you saying that Smokey Robinson is a mutant and has superpowers, Aaron?
He could be.
I just think it's the Lord's work. I told you.
He's a homo superior.
Hanging out with my pastor. They be praying in tongues. He prayed that youth in.
Come on. He homo superior. I need to get on my knees for 2 weeks straight just to keep my hairline from growing back even farther. 2 weeks. I'm gonna be on my knees more than a Vegas hooker to get my hairline back.
Hello.
Oh shit. All right. Well, y'all ready to start the show?
Right on.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm ready. I've been ready.
Milt, I need a letter.
Oh, it's been a long time since I had this choice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with B.
B. Bastille Day. Burgundy. Buns. Baked bountifully. The Baba Yaga. Botswana. Booty butt cheeks. Booty butt cheeks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the High Score 510 podcast. You can catch us at High Score 510 on all the social media platforms, maybe kind of, sorta. Check out DJartt on TikTok, where he hangs out with all the teenagers doing dances and conspiracy videos. Aside from that, You can also email the show at highscore510.fans@gmail.com. And we are here with...
This is Aaron Grayson III, also known as AG3. I would say I'm coming at you faster than Latavius Murray, but it looks like he ain't got no breakaway speed. So definitely coming at you faster than Latavius Murray. No, I can't say that. Coming at you faster than Latavius Murray and faster than Marcus Peters pissing off someone on another team for no reason.
I've been a friend of that guy's for 30 years.
A lot of hot topic going around. What is your thought?
Well, it doesn't surprise me that he said those things. That doesn't surprise me. And he shouldn't have said it. And he just hurt himself by talking too much and doing things that he shouldn't be doing. And I tell you, I don't wish that girl any bad luck, but I hope she gets hit with a car.
That's my man, Tommy LaPasta, man. Rest in peace, Tommy Lasorda. He's in that big Italian restaurant in the sky, eating a buffet. If I know any better, him and St. Peter at a buffet right now. He ain't never held back his tongue. That's the greatest thing about Tommy Lasorda.
And we are here with...
everybody's friendly captain, Captain P-Funk, coming at you like the white dude trying to bid on the podium from the Capitol building.
Tell you what I think about it. I think that is very, very bad for that man to make an accusation like that. That is terrible. I have never, ever, since I've managed, ever told a pitcher to throw at anybody, nor will I ever. And if I ever did, I certainly wouldn't make him throw at a fucking 130 hitter like LaFay or fucking Bavacqua, who couldn't hit water if he fell out of a fucking boat. And I guarantee you this, when I pitched and I was going to pitch against a fucking team that had guys on it like Bavacqua, I sent a fucking limousine to get the cocksucker to make sure he was in the motherfucking lineup, because I kicked that cocksucker's ass any fucking day in a week. He's a fucking motherfucking big mouth, I'll tell you that.
I told you he never held back. He never held back. I told you he never held back.
Great quote.
He said, I'll make sure I send a limousine. So he is
sorry, motherfucker.
And we are here with...
What's up? It's your boy Milt for mayor. Back like I never left. Work from home, Poppy. You know the deal. What's up, everybody?
Dick will make you slap somebody.
All right.
That's one of my new conspiracy Sistah jingles. Can you tell who that was?
No. Can I get one more crack at it?
These men are giving dick away.
Nah. I don't know.
Vagina
like it's too left field.
power.
Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy.
Who?
Alexis K. Tyler, bro.
Oh, Alexis Tyler. Oh, yeah. I had to explain some things using Alexis Tyler to my daughter, but she didn't lose her damn mind.
And my name is Jared, aka DJartt, with 2 T's for a double dose of that tink tink. The D is silent, so it's just Jartt.
Ma'am, what happened to you?
I got maced.
You got maced.
By the police.
And what happened? You were trying to go inside the Capitol?
I made it like a foot inside, and they pushed me out, and they maced me.
What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
And why did you want to go in?
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
That bitch is wearing a piano keyboard scarf.
A keyboard that you usually see on like most of the 4th and 3rd grade girls at the elementary school. She's wearing that, talking about it's a revolution. Thank God she wasn't one of those people around in 1776.
Unfortunately, I think most people around 1776 were on her wavelength.
must have been. Oh my God.
Unfortunately, they had pepper spray back then, so they couldn't stop the revolution. They had muskets and stood in line and took turns shooting at each other.
That's all they did. But they made sure that first shot was at Atticus. What is his name? Atticus.
Hey man, the most noble martyr of all time is like that's how you know. We gonna get to Boston in a second, bro. We'll get to Boston. They got another first black something. The first black martyr to galvanize a Revolutionary War in America on America's soil. Crispus Attucks. You know, they set him up. Conspiracy brother tell you. And didn't nobody give Crispus Attucks the memo.
Hey, black man, look out! He's got a gun. Oh, I'm here.
Milt, man, it's been a minute since we last had you. I think last time we had you was at the start of this quarantine craze.
It was. We were masked up.
Yeah, we were masked up in person.
You guys are masked up for no reason. but you guys are thankful you guys didn't catch COVID-19 because I had that on the most expensive and best hand sanitizer that day.
Oh, this where Aaron was carrying some hydrogen peroxide around.
Heavy duty.
No, that was just straight up rubbing alcohol.
Yeah,
Aaron had a bottle of had liquor store rubbing alcohol. He was just dumping it on his hands.
He was using that for hand sanitizer. You can't get no better hand sanitizer than that.
And that's what we had. Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to bring back Aaron's 10 tips for surviving a pandemic. Those are some good tips. Maybe bring that back around.
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, good to be back. It's been a wild these past months, man. However long it's been, 9 months now plus.
Yeah. How's the quarantine life and all that stuff been treating you? Have you been managing well, or has it been a big adjustment? What's different in your life versus before for now?
It's been I've been kind of lucky in the fact that I've been able to work and haven't been impacted like a lot of people have, but it's been hard when you have your routines kind of shaken up. You got to find ways to give yourself different breaks and different routines. And I've been trying to do that. So there's been some silver linings, but, kind of cabin fever, when you're talking about not being in an office, and I need a place to go and a routine in the morning. And, so I'm finding different ways to kind of check those boxes, I'm sure we all are.
Yeah, I know you're a kinetic person. You like to move and be interacted and doing it on screen or being cooped up in the same 6 walls.
No, but we're finding things that fill different needs for us now, and I think we're all learning different things about ourselves. I've been able to kind of find different things that take my focus that I don't think I would have been into had we not been at home, and it's been good though, man.
The other question that I've been burning to ask you is, last time you were on, we were discussing Derek Carr, and you said he, in quote, he might not don't got it.
He might don't got it.
Has another season of his play been able to further reaffirm or disprove your assessment of him?
He for sure don't got it. So
it's not a might not
out there. Before it was might not, but I don't know.
Did he have his best season yet, Milt?
Yeah, no, Milt. Let me ask you this, because he's been throwing the deep ball a lot this season. You don't think it's a mix of that ancient, overcomplicated offense that might be holding him back?
Yeah, I mean, I have a loaded perspective on that, which I don't intend to just dump on y'all right now. But long and the short of it is, whether it's the offense, the defense having its problems, they're not hitting on draft picks. At the end of the day, you got to have turnover to have success at some positions if you're not getting what you need when you have someone in that role. So I agree that the offense is really frustrating to watch, and that loss in Miami, and there's other examples where, that was a win or loss decision inside the 5 that Gruden had. But there's just times where you look at it and you're like, okay, this works. Let's do this more often, or let's spread things out, and they just don't do it. And I don't want to see Jason Witten on a field ever again. I'm sorry, Jart. I know that gave you joy.
No, I was happy he went to the Raiders. I was like, at least he's not clouding up the Cowboys roster no more. I don't need that motherfucker around.
I had no idea why he would come out of retirement.
Did you hear him in the booth?
Probably trying to get a coaching job.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Even though in the booth he was kind of bland, they liked him there.
He talked. He's like a white version of Antonio Brown. He could barely talk.
But he can run a flat route like nobody's business.
Yeah, it's like I could do this thing where I block like a turnstile, where basically I hit and then I just turn in a circle with you. So you're gonna get by me eventually. But
Hey,
it's just like, are you gonna turn the right way?
Remember
or
that
wrong?
drill where you're getting tackled and you normally land on some pads that are behind you? It's all form fitting. It's normally one of the first things you do when you start playing Pee Wee or high school football. Somebody's fitted with a shield. That's Jason Witten when he's trying to block someone on the edge and he just gets picked up and pancaked. But
yeah,
let's just say I'm ready to see young talent under center in Las Vegas in the next couple of years. And if it doesn't happen for a year or two, so be it. But like, I'm at peace with him potentially being that quarterback. I already know I want somebody else.
I think Derek Carr is a plus backup in the league. If he needs to start, like you said, for another year or so, as you try and get a new quarterback in there and groom that quarterback, then he could be serviceable in that way. But I think he's as serviceable as Mariota would be.
I liked Marcus when he was playing. He was fun to watch. I don't know why he didn't get any burn in the last game of the season.
I think if Mariota were to get the starting nod next year, I think the team would probably believe in him more than they do in Derek Carr. That's just my assessment. I'm not certain of that, but Mariota took mediocre Tennessee Titans teams to the playoffs. He couldn't win in the playoffs, but he got that team to play above their level-ish while he was still playing below what his expected level was for a couple seasons and got into the playoffs. So I think he's somebody that you can believe in a little bit more. He leaves it all out there on the field versus Derek Carr will throw it away on fourth down.
That's true. Or throw the ball straight out of bounds on first down when he got hurt.
Or somebody's ankles.
Wasn't that fourth down?
Oh, when he hurt his groin. Yeah, he hurt his groin.
He threw the ball. He got mad. Straight down. And I'm like, dude, you guys had a chance to score. What are you doing? Because they needed that score. They lost that game, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost.
Mariota came in.
Yeah, that was the San Diego game.
They need those points, and this fool throwing the ball at the ground because he pissed.
I mean, that's DC. That's what he does. Check down. He did stretch the field this year.
No, that's what I was gonna say, Pedro.
That's my first question.
I'm gonna be fair and say that he threw some deep balls this year, and some of the deep balls look pretty good. And he looked like he was starting to get more comfortable, be more aggressive. I know that's what people have been asking for: consistent OC, get him consistency.
Nah.
But like you said, Milt, like in the NFL, if you're the quarterback and you're the one who's getting paid the bulk of the money on the team. Granted, they got him at a time where as he's looked at as a bargain, but he's not really a bargain because he's taking $25 million for mediocre play. But regardless of which, you have to be able to sustain your level of play as there's turnover. You're not going to be able to keep all your players around you because you're getting paid so much. So it's the balance. You can't sit here and say, I need more consistency from my teammates when you're the one who's taking enough money to where you can't consistently pay all these teammates that make you better potentially. So.
Well, the crazy thing is that it isn't like the Raiders didn't spend money on the offensive side of the ball, right? Like they saved money in their secondary and their defense, like other parts of the defense.
Yeah, their entire D line is like on rookie contracts.
Dude, yeah, exactly.
There's only a few things that are guaranteed when it comes to being this time of year as of late, and it's that Raider fans will start doing draft prep now because they're not watching anybody after Wild Card weekend.
Hold the phone, Milt. Hold the phone. I remember it could have been our last episode we was on. How excited you were over the 7th playoff spot for each conference.
Oh, yeah.
And I was bitching about it. And you and Jared was super excited. Pedro, the last time we met, these fools were arguing over this chat. I was arguing against it. They were arguing. They're like, man, this is going to help my Cowboys and Raiders.
It almost did.
And I was like, look.
Almost did. We needed that.
Even if we had it last year, both those teams weren't even then.
What it did, though, what did it do? It kept me.
Washington.
Well, I didn't pay much attention, but once I knew the Cowboys had a chance, I kept a little bit more of a tab on it. I was like, oh, they got a slight chance. The last week of the season, I didn't watch that last game of the season, but I was like, hey, they got a chance. And
that had nothing to do with that 7th draft pick. That had to do with that horrible NFC lease.
It had to do with the division. It had to do with Alex Smith getting hurt so that Dwayne Haskins had to come in and play 3 weeks in a row and show that he was not an NFL quarterback.
I was wondering where that was going.
I was like, Dwayne Haskins, man, keep him in the game. Don't cut him. I was so mad. When he went to the strip club, I was like, man, you just fucked it up for my team, bro. Now they're going to have to bench your ass or cut you. And now you ain't going to play unless somebody else get hurt.
He had a strip club while he got a head coach going through chemotherapy. A head coach going through chemotherapy who gets an IV at halftime every game. And this fool going to a strip club during COVID. The Cowboys was basically knocked out, not when they lost that game to the Giants, when Dwayne Haskins walked into that strip club and got that photo taken.
Well, let's get in that question then. So the question I had was it worth the NFL expanding it to 7 teams? Was it worth the headache that Aaron was upset about versus me and Milt were excited about? Do you guys think it was a good call? And do you think they should continue having the 7th team with only the number 1 seeds getting a bye? Or do you think they should go back to 6 when things hopefully get back to normal?
I'm gonna tell you what they're not gonna do is go back to 6. They're gonna get this money and keep it 7. I don't care what we think or our opinion. I'm sitting up here right now watching all these damn checkdowns in this New Orleans game.
Yeah,
I think the checkdowns was coming from Mitch Trubisky.
No, it's coming from Drew Brees.
It's coming from Drew Brees and Mitchell Trubisky.
You know what? I'm with Pedro. The NFL not ever going to go back to only 6 playoff spots on each conference because of all the money they getting. The game this morning was on ABC. I have not seen ABC have a playoff game in probably 15 years when they had one of the channels. I'm like, there's too much money they're making off the having an extra playoff team. They're not going to get rid of it.
Did they do something with Nickelodeon? I think I've seen the background of Nickelodeon.
I think it's part of Twitter, man. It was all kind of stuff.
All kind of crazy stuff.
It was part of Twitter.
They ain't going back, Jared.
They're not going back because it's been like NFL game. You could stream it through Twitch. Amazon have a little bit of money on these playoff games. And I tell you what, I'm going to say it was worth it because it made that last day exciting, especially in the AFC. You're watching the Miami, you're watching all those teams. You're like, is someone going to get in with the 11? Someone going to be out with the 11 wins? It was exciting. It was all these scenarios. The NFC one, it was exciting to the egg that got thrown out there by the Rams in Arizona. And then Chicago limped in.
All right. So the question was it worth it? It was not worth it to me. Because this just is another reminder that my team is not a middle of the pack team. My team is a bottom third team in the NFL. So for me, it wasn't worth it. But at the same time, in other years, I'm sure it'll be awesome weekends. So I don't think they're going to get rid of the revenue. From a revenue perspective, they're not going to get rid of it. And obviously from a ratings and TV perspective, there's just too much to lose. But hopefully the Raiders can get in on a wild card and we can say this is worth it.
I think it's something that the NFL realized that people just love football and they're going to tune in. They got to dominate a Saturday and a Sunday, 9 hours of 2 days on a weekend that they get to dominate the sports world. Social media platforms are being dominated by it. It might not be the greatest football because you got some teams that might not should be there, but also like they inched their way in. There was a lot of hoopla into the last weekend because of all the different scenarios of somebody won and somebody lost who could get in and sneak in. So that kept a lot of people involved. And like for me, I just think that it was all part of their greater conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? And it was all just to kind of muck it up while they raking in that money. Conspiracy sister.
Trying to hook up with another woman to get a dick out, to ration a piece of it out. Just like they rationing out damn government cheese in the project.
I really don't know.
I lost my damn thought.
Yeah, I did that one so often.
I had a thought ready to go and now I lost it.
Let's get into some news. The Georgia Senate runoffs occurred. It seems like it happened weeks ago based upon everything else that has occurred. But the Georgia Senate runoff occurred. And Georgia is now a blue state. Kelly Loeffler lost to Reverend Raphael Warnock. He's the first black senator in Georgia. And David Perdue lost to John Ossoff, who is the son of an immigrant, and I believe he is Jewish. So some diversity being infused into the Georgia Senate, which had historically been run by beautiful Dixie white people. What do y'all think about that?
Well, it's still ran by beautiful white people, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's them. It's the Republican Party. You can blame that on Trump because he was out with his conspiracy theories, making his own base. Well, I think what they say about 60% of the Republican base was already mad at Kemp for certifying the vote. So that I think that just got them over the top. What I'm amazed by is still 2 million people that still voted for, I forgot the guy's name, that literally took their tax money and was trading it on the market for for its own good. And he's like, no, and he was making money off the suppliers for the
bags
or something crazy.
He played the market. He played down the pandemic and bought stock and like traded in favor of companies that were benefiting from it and getting PPE loans. And we're gonna turn a corner. But he told everybody in the state of Georgia that they shouldn't worry about that public health crisis. That's the problem, right?
Dude, how did you still get 2 million?
Still voted for him.
Still vote for you. It basically takes everybody to come out to vote. It takes women, it takes minorities, it takes the city to come out and defeat the country like that. You know, he shouldn't even been close. That should have been a landslide. He would have won if Trump didn't go in and was talking all that crazy. He would have won. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
If Trump didn't come in with his goofy conspiracy theories and Kemp trying to certify votes, and he come in and sabotage that, he would have won by probably, about 30, 40,000 votes?
If you remove yourself from whatever type of argument any side's trying to give you, you can just look face value at what's happening. And I think you have some serious like kind of ethical lines that are crossed, and it shouldn't be as wide of a gap to what Pedro was saying. It shouldn't be that big of a discrepancy between people who are voting by what's right and who are actually coming out to the polls. So, it bodes well, I think, to see Georgia in general and the Southeast go blue. I'm interested to see when Florida turns eventually. Texas too is an interesting thing to look at, but as it pertains to Georgia, I think it's pretty important for the swing of things and the role that it plays in flipping different parts of the government itself. So I'm surprised but also kind of juiced that there's a lot of those moves happening out there.
Aaron, what's something you took away from the Georgia Senate runoff?
The Democrats poured in so much money. It was let me tell you, this isn't the old Democratic Party anymore. Yeah, I mean the money, it was ridiculous. The fact that they were going against Loeffler and all her money, and they still were able to outbid them for everything. But you got to also hold it in. Who was that person that lost Georgia 4 years ago? The woman.
4 years ago?
Stacey Abrams.
Stacey Abrams. Wasn't that 4 years ago?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Oh yeah, it was 2 years ago. Dang, you know what?
Yeah,
last year felt like 2 years.
She would have won by 2.
And so I think she also had a big impact. They scorned her.
Yep.
And boy, if you don't have any sisters or a house full of women, let me tell you something. That Trump, he didn't know about when you scorn a woman scorned. Hell hath no fury. And boy, she went out and put in the work. She put in the work, and I don't know if the state's totally flipped yet. I'm not one of those sitting there. I don't think Georgia's totally. You got to be a fool to think that with the percentage they have. It's not totally flipped. It's not like Texas where you're getting this big, huge amount of like people moving from California or from one of these Western states there. It's not happening. The people who are moving there, they're just displacing people who already are Democrats already. So I just think this was just a moment. Like I agree with Pedro said, the Trumpism pushed even some of the Republicans away.
It's not the Trumpism. It was just the certification. If he shut his mouth.
That's what I think, because a lot of people didn't vote because I think they felt like it was rigged already, so they didn't go out. A lot of Republicans, and not like your Republicans who are maybe you're more like, for lack of a better term, hickish people who are Republican. We're just like, oh man, what's the use of voting? It's rigged, right? I think it was both Trumpism and his silliness of calling the election rigged in Georgia and different states. So
I think Dabo said it well for the people who thought it was already rigged.
Some of these people need to move to another country. Some of them need to move to another country.
Well, boy, Dabo with that great white Jesus quote.
Why Jesus?
Got that white Jesus. Jesus was born in Virginia.
Jesus born in Virginia province of Bethlehem.
He was born in the West Virginia province of Bethlehem, not Virginia, West Virginia. And his dad wasn't a carpenter. He worked in a steel mill in Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
He was a coal miner in West Virginia. Joseph was a coal miner in West Virginia.
Right. And then he got laid off. Then God sent him a child. Sent him a wife.
He sent his wife a child because he got laid off. So he sent them a child and said, he shall leave the word of the wise to the ways of man. Flesh of my flesh.
I think a lot of things in this world were only a dream for Martin Luther King.
I love it when white men start using Martin Luther King to cover up their sins. Oh, I just love it.
Shout out to Stacey Abrams and Georgia's example of starting to see a more inclusive active voting base of all the eligible citizens, and that's important.
They must have gave all them black people in Atlanta a coupon for free chicken wings at the strip club to get them to vote. That's an ignorant ass city. That's the only way they got Future and them to vote.
They got them out there though. They got
offered them some lemon pepper wings.
Hey, can we talk about how fine that Stacey Abrams is though? It's like a young Esther Rose. It just turned me on.
Hetty has some big ass titties.
Yeah, let's talk about how not only is she powerful, she's beautiful.
Donald Trump might be right. I think six of Future 7 kids was on the ballot, had voted.
It's like Future Antonio Cromartie lives in Florida. That's what we need. Antonio Cromartie to just start like a voting center where he just birth children. He just get people pregnant so they can birth children to vote a certain way.
Between him, Future, and Mayweather's daughter's baby daddy,
NBA YoungBoy.
Yeah, those three should just them alone and they kids. As soon as they kids turn 18, they can flip a state real quick. They could flip North Dakota.
They could flip North Dakota.
Donald Trump held a rally in Washington, D.C. to many of thousands of his supporters. He encouraged them to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Capitol building and let the Senate and Congress know what they felt and what they thought. He claimed that he was going to walk with them, which I don't believe he did. And then it devolved after all his beautiful rhetoric online and at his rallies into a riot, and they stormed the Capitol building. 5 people were killed. 1 Capitol police officer died due to injuries. One woman was shot. A former Air Force veteran was shot and killed while trying to get into a secured area that was barricaded. And 3 others died due to medical emergencies, is what they classified them as. But it was a day that will go down in history, as many of them are saying. But I don't know if it's going down in history for any of the right reasons, but probably all the wrong reasons. What was going through your mind as you saw all the things unfolding at the Capitol on Wednesday? And then at the end of the day, when you kind of saw the dust settle, so to speak?
Yeah, like when I was watching everything kind of unfold, I was on Twitter and I had the news on in the background after things started kind of getting momentum. And I didn't realize that there was a rally beforehand. I just heard people were kind of going in towards DC and that it was going to be a lot of the Trump folks and, the MAGA crowd. I wasn't really shocked that it like really happened or even surprised. I kind of expected there to be some antics and some political theater, and I think when I was watching it happen, I was just kind of thinking about the complete opposite reception and treatment that different protesters got when they were representing different beliefs than this group that was rushing the Capitol, let alone just being on the grounds or whatever. And, they were let in by guards and there's all these other kind of, peripheral things that are happening at once. But I just watched this whole crowd get treated with preferential treatment and afforded the opportunity to do things that a lot of other people wouldn't even get close to being able to do. And there's been a whole bunch of people coming out saying there's all these different experiences they've had when they were doing stuff that was way less, invasive and just wrong. For me, it just started that whole kind of reflection where I was just like, all right, well, some people are going to come up with narratives where they're supporting it. There's going to be whataboutisms. There's going to be your people from Tennessee. There's going to be all this stuff on social media, this fallout. But for me, it just really was a coming to terms and a visual representation of privilege. And some people really have trouble grasping that. And for me, it was just, my main takeaway was that it was one of the biggest, most egregious, to use a word that you always use, Jart.
Good word.
It was an egregious display of white privilege. And it was on a massive scale and there was zero resistance. And it just made me think about just the kind of the polarizing nature of this country and how people are innately treated differently based on how they look or what they represent. And, I think there's been some good conversation from that on my end, but those are my initial takeaways.
Well, Milt, I would classify you as a bona fide good white man. So I think the conversations we have and do have typically are very transparent about many of the issues in our country, and I appreciate you for that. And as people awaken, or as people realize and find these double standards and check certain privileges or just check certain inequities, even if they benefit you, it's an important thing to acknowledge it first and then be able to discuss it. There's some people who are unwilling to acknowledge it, and then you can't have the discussion if you don't even acknowledge it. And I think that's where we're at with a lot of things. But the polarizing nature it's really hard to not choose a side. And I think people are just choosing sides. Pedro, what was something that you noticed?
Nothing really. Just regular, beautiful white people doing what they do best. All of them just opened the doors gently. There was no ass. I didn't see anything. It's nothing to see here. Turn off the cameras. Fake news. Everybody just walked through the steps, opened the door gently. The cops was actually, you seen the cops. Cops was like, hey, come on in. Just go right on in. Nancy Pelosi office right there. Hey, go ahead and check her mail too. Your check might be on that desk. Just go up in there and see if your check in there. Go ahead. Just go right up there. Mike Pence might be in that room over there. Y'all say y'all want to kill him? Y'all was gonna try to kill me. He over there, but I don't know if you get past the Secret Service. So y'all should send that beautiful white woman through that door first. See if they pop her. So if they don't pop her, if they don't pop her, he's not in there. But if they pop her, she's in there. He's in there. You know it's in there. So that's where you go. You see, so just put that white woman up first. Put the beautiful white lady up first. Let her dump her out. She got dumped out. All other man, y'all just stay back and cool out. Just take everything. Go ahead and take that podium. The podium's nice. It's a good piece in your living room. It's a nice piece in your foyer.
Did you know Gematria proved that Ashley Babbitt and Christmas Addicts equal the same number?
Goodwill hunting, meaning I'm hunting niggas.
Oh, Lord. Just help me, God. Immediately.
Silly shit there. Now one of them, don't even try to relay a conspiracy theory. I'm sorry that she had to lose her life and that people had to die.
I'm not sorry. I'm disappointed. I'm not sorry.
I'm sorry for whenever someone loses their life, even if it was behind her own, her own belief. Because I feel like she was led to believe by this conspiracy, right?
Thank you.
Like, I don't want to fault her for whatever reason and where she was in her life, but I felt like she was persuaded to believe this and pushed into believe it by our person who soon to be ex-president, thank God, right? You know as well as I know, we have conspiracy theorists in our own lives as friends, right? And sometimes they get caught up in some of them, and I'm like, holy shit, right? It don't take away from them being a good person or not. She got caught up in a whirlwind. She also learned a valuable lesson at Secret Service. I learned a valuable lesson. Why can't we vet police like they vet Secret Service people? Secret Service is the one who shot her. It feel like to me, Secret Service is very neutral. They do their job, right? Yeah. You ain't coming in this door no matter what.
She was military. My thing is, I feel sorry that people are being led astray due to the power dynamics of, the controlling oligarch or whatever you want to call it. I do feel sorry for that. But you have military training. You understand that at a certain line, you just act. You are going into the state capitol with our Secret Service. They are going to just act at a certain point. You, former military, have to understand that. And I'm not saying
thrown off by some of the Capitol Police.
Yeah, some of the Capitol Police
said was just letting them in.
Yeah, Capitol Police dressed like Capitol Police, and then you got Secret Service who dressed like men in suits that are pointing guns at you, and that's the difference. And I'm like, this man in this suit is pointing a gun at me, saying, "Do not." He had the gun aimed at her, saying, "Do not enter, do not enter." For several seconds, I'm not here to condone or try and rationalize and say it's okay that she died. I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is say, even the conspiracy theorists in my world, even myself, if somebody's pointing a gun at me, I'm not jumping through a door to go closer to them. That's when I know they have a code that is neutral. If you go past a certain point, it's gone and it's going to happen. And like for me, like I understand that,
No,
so
I'm not saying I'm not trying to rationalize anything.
Yeah,
I'm just sad that people lost their lives behind this idiocy. I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm sad that people had to lose their lives behind the president who's sitting over here making false claims,
endorsing and condoning this shit. Yeah, I agree.
And then the people I'm hoping that we really target and get out of here, and people get targeted. It seems like it is happening. People like Harley, Ted Cruz, these people who came out, called them patriots, tweeted shit out,
fan the flames,
fan the flames. Rudolph Giuliani, I don't know how we can't get him on treason for the shit he said before that. According to Swordfish, Teddy Roosevelt shot a man on the White House lawn for treason.
Yeah, man. Only thing I remember from Swordfish is Halle Berry's beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Black.
That's why I only remember that one line, because I couldn't stop going back. See, I didn't watch that movie in the theater. I watched it when it came on cable, and then it came out on VHS. My boy got it on VHS, and we kept rewinding.
I was in the time spiral, bro.
Exactly, that shit got wore out. And so that's why I only remember that one line that John Travolta dropped when he killed that senator, which I don't think is true, but it was still a great line. I was like, Giuliani ain't count for this? He fan of the flag.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why are these cowards leading? Why is this lady getting shot?
She getting shot, and the motherfuckers who fanned it
out, and people fanned out somewhere in an office building downtown New York. Or near a lock. Man, get out of here with that.
Exactly. You over here telling people to have let's take it back by combat, trial by combat, and then you the first one gone. You should have been the first one through the door.
What happened to real generals like George Washington?
And Ulysses S. Grant, the kind who would drink a fifth of whiskey and then go out there fighting.
Exactly, leading their man. If you're gonna do that, lead your man. If you're gonna lead the treason, you don't lead the treason behind a cell phone or behind a computer, behind Zoom,
Twitter.
Twitter. Get out of here with that that bitch shit.
I'm gonna say,
you just thinking back to 1980. You've been watching too much Wonder Woman 1984. How much ad? If they wanted to make that movie realistic, they would have thrown a lot of F words, a lot of N words, Look, we were very racist back then. And see, Pedro,
they would have been talking about AIDS.
If you did part of your teenagers in the 80s, you was used to being racist and bigotry. It was just part of the nature. And I'm sorry for all the things I said in the past, but it was part of the norm.
Part of the norm.
I also was talking to one of my conspiracy brothers, my brother, shout out RCO2, and he was also really upset about your boy Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell trying to come and sound like reasonable actors in this, being like, we got to stop this, like after the fact, like when they for 4 years have enabled, like as much as we want to blame Trump for enabling these people and his rhetoric and
they enabled him.
They enabled him by not telling him to shut the fuck up and stand back, stand down and stand by. They allowed him to do these things so they could pass what they wanted. He was their meat shield. He was their distraction for everything that they wanted. And then finally they want to sound like the reasonable ones. We're like, no, we can't see any reason this is false. And everyone's like, oh my God, thank you. And we were so conditioned to expect the opposite that when they said what they said, we're like, oh my goodness, this is so amazing. And Lindsey Graham was one of the people who was helping spearhead this conspiracy thing. They said one of the things that the MAGA people were mad about was this.
A lot of the men have thrown away any type of verification to prove that they dick belong to you.
And that's what they was mad about. They like, this American dick ain't mine no more. They don't want it to not be theirs. And they needed to be going in the hole that they wanted to go in. Not these blue holes, not these progressive holes, not these libtard holes as they call them. They wanted to be going in they hole. And they decided to do the fucking instead of be fucked. I don't know. I don't get it. It don't make no goddamn sense sometimes. But fuck Lindsey Graham and fuck Mitch McConnell for trying to sound reasonable after the fact.
Hey, at least they there now. I rather they be there now than never, Jerry.
No. Conspiracy brother thinks that Lindsey Graham's just trying to get more money to get more Capitol Police and more development around that shit. Because he's like, we got to fix that. We can throw money at it now.
You got to understand it was coming after them. So they was like, whoa, wait a minute now. Wait a minute, we used to be on Trump's side. What Trump? You going to turn all my...
No, they realized, it took that to realize. I think a lot of them had the ideal of like, okay, Trump got this strong support this and that. We still need those votes for our election, right? So they're agreeing with shit he said. And then once they saw this, they're like, oh no. A lot of the people who voted for Trump who weren't out there, a lot of people in Iowa, Pennsylvania, these are people who probably saw that too and said, what the fuck are wrong with these people? There are a lot of Trump regret. That showed why he lost this last election. There's a lot of people who had a lot of Trump regret. And so
I'm just like, leaders
showed it more.
They're in formal positions of leadership at the highest levels in our country, the highest levels of esteem, and leaders got to lead, not just sit there and try and play fucking political games. And that's what they were doing. And as much,
let's be real, that's their job, dude. It's political games. That's what the Senate is.
But they can't play both. You're allowing them to easily play both sides of the coin. Like, yeah, things are polarized, but we need to expect more from our leaders. Lead, make tough decisions. You got to lead. You got to make tough decisions sometimes. Like when Aaron will play this thing with the kids. So every year he does his test on the 5th graders, and he acts like he's mad, and he says, y'all got to vote on 2 people who got to sit on the bench. Otherwise, nobody's going outside. And he lets the kids kind of figure it out, and they'll negotiate and they'll play. It's the older kids, so like they can plan and negotiate. And some kids will step up and be like, "I'll take the blame," yada yada yada. And Aaron just wants to see how the kids are going to react. Now, Aaron don't do that every day. Aaron doesn't let the kids run the asylum every day just so he can keep control and keep the kids under some auspices of fear and paranoia. No, he don't do that because that's not leadership. He does that as a test, and then he talks to the kids about it afterwards. These motherfuckers is letting this stupid shit go on a daily basis, and then trying to like at the end be like, "Oh, let's have a talk about it." After 4 years of every day this being the bullshit. Like, that's not right.
Right about that.
That's wrong. You are elected to be a leader. This is where I'm mad. You are elected, just like Trump. You are elected to be a motherfucking leader. You are in the highest position of leadership in this country. Expectations are high. You cannot play fucking bullshit political games. Play political games. Negotiate and the politics. I understand that comes. That is part of the game. But this is bullshit politics. And I'm not going to let nobody try and justify that to me because that was crazy. They allowed that shit.
Are you more mad at Twitter?
Fuck Twitter.
Mad at Twitter for
and the birds. They chirped in on. Don't worry, Twitter. Don't worry. I got some for Twitter later. I got some fire for Twitter later. Don't worry. Don't worry. That's coming to the Cutty corner.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
No, someone said they found a way to turn facts into politics. Facts is we have coronavirus. Facts is that there is climate change. Facts is science. Like I tell certain people, all right, okay, you don't believe in facts. Why don't you go set your hand on fire and see how that feels? That's called science, you idiot.
You don't want to believe in science, stop using your smartphone. You don't believe in science, go weave your own goddamn clothing.
Exactly.
You don't want to believe in science, go grow your own shit every day.
You basically saying if you want to not believe in phonics, turn into Ted Kaczynski.
You said phonics or science?
Science. I said science and phonics put together. I said phonics science. I meant both.
This magic moment.
Pedro dominated the magic moments last week. Pedro had like 5.
That's because my sugar level was high.
Bianca Smith was hired as the first Black woman coach in pro baseball. She was hired by the Boston Red Sox. This comes on the heels of Kim Ng being hired as the general manager for the Miami Marlins. And we're starting to see an influx of women into the sport. But do you guys think this is an example of Black women saving baseball? Or do you think that this is a way for Boston to mask their inherent bias and racism?
I think it's a meat shield, if you ask me.
Man, as long as Kurt Schilling's still on that Hall of Fame ballot, they ain't saving shit.
Yeah, exactly.
They ain't saving shit.
Anyways, what did y'all think when you heard the news about this? Or was there anything that you took away from this?
It was exciting. I mean, it's exciting. I don't want to downplay it for what it is. Whether Boston is, doing whatever. I mean, Boston is still a progressive city. It's a racist progressive city, but it's still progressive, right? I mean, I will give it that. They will put people in positions and they will try to, we're going to treat you like shit, but we're going to make sure you're equal. I can live with that.
That's fair, right? That's like some fair racism, right?
You know what? I call that the United Kingdom way of equality. That's how the UK did it. That's how the UK did it. England went out there and said, you get everything we get. You get free healthcare, you get free education, you get everything we get. But you know what? We gonna treat you a little bit like shit. You know, we're gonna treat you like, but you're not a second class citizen. You one of us now. But because of that, you can't be calling yourself African Englanders, right? And you can't be bringing up your spices unless we take them. That's what the England said.
But, we tax them. We tax them spices.
and so I will say this. I think she's in baseball a while. She was coaching a team, a college team. She was coaching women's team. She coached men's before. It's like Kim Ng. Kim Ng was in baseball for a long time. And she was assistant general manager to the Yankees, Brian Cashman. She got 3 titles. She was with the Dodgers during their turnaround. So I look at it. It's one of those things that's, it's late. Better late than never. It's late. There are a lot of women that know more. There's a lot of women who probably got Alzheimer's and forgot more about baseball than I ever will know. And that most of those guys that's in baseball ever will know, right? So it's about time we start getting some fresh blood, some young blood. Maybe this might help the game of baseball by bringing in. First, we bring in women. Maybe next thing they know, they stop. If you could convince some of them hillbillies to stop getting mad at the Latin players for celebrating, right?
That's a little bit now.
Only sport you can't celebrate doing something well. I saw the Ravens stomp on the team's insignia in the middle of the field today after they got the ceiling interception, and they celebrated. They got hit with the 15-yarder, but hey, they got it, right? They celebrated. They won, you celebrate. You don't want them to win. You don't want them to celebrate. You stop them from winning. You don't want Steph Curry shimmying. Don't let him make a 3 on your ass, right? That's how you do it. If we could do that, maybe baseball could start moving. Maybe the next thing you know, they could kick out all those guys that come from MIT and Yale and get those guys out the game next and stop making the game fucking boring. Theo Epstein, man, he burned in hell. He's close to being. If I would have loved baseball a little bit more, Theo Epstein would be on my Daryl Morey scale. He's close there though. I hope that when I get to the gates, I see them in a separate line: Theo Epstein, Daryl Morey, and Hitler. They in their own separate line, and Peter's. We got to talk about this, right? We got a lots to discuss.
Stupid. What you think, Milt? What you think about it?
I think short take is that it's good for ball, and that's coming from someone who's over ball. So I think that they need. I think AG3 is right on polls. He had a good pulse on this. For me, it's not enough. From a representation standpoint, obviously, and it's not a manager role, but it is a good step in the right direction by the ownership. And it looks like John Henry's from Arkansas, so maybe this is a little bit of masking. And Boston obviously is a very interesting setting for this to be happening in.
Very interesting.
So, I mean, does it make up for Boston being Boston? Of course not. But then again, this kind of a move in that type of a market is a big statement. So I think you do kind of got to give them a little bit of a tip of the cap in that respect. But I think, it'll really be a big ripple. Not that this isn't important from a symbolism standpoint, but like when we have a female manager, GM's a big one, but I want a female manager. And, I was thinking about the staffing situation in San Antonio in the NBA too. And like when we're talking about barriers, for me, it's like head coach at the next level. So I think it's a good move, but yeah, clearly I think there's more to do, but it is a start. And from what I gathered in the sport, it's a first in its own respect. So
yeah,
from that perspective, it's thumbs up.
Yeah, it was Alyssa Nacken, was a former softball star. She was hired by the San Francisco Giants to be a assistant coach last year. So she was the first woman to be hired in a coaching role, and now this is the first Black woman. So yeah, I was trying to remember.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, I agree. Definitely, that's the pinnacle of, building and developing just equality and opportunity. And I think that's what our country built on, opportunity. Pedro, what is your view and take on this?
Well, I'm not a big baseball aficionado, but just like we have in football and in basketball, instead of having this whole just machismo male perspective on everything, we do need to progress when it comes to having ideas. And it seems like females are, especially now, are coming up with ideas in business minded also. Let me mind you, they're starting to come out with a lot of business plans, and it might help progress. It might improve some young talent listening to different voices. We all love our mama. We all, especially in the minority community, be like, Lord Jesus, my mama, I can't do nothing without my mama. So just having a woman,
shout out to mamas.
Just having a woman there to nourish and lead some of these. I'm not telling them to like lead man, but with the ideas.
Yeah.
We take a lot of ideas from our mom. That's where we get the smartest part. From our lives, from our mothers. So yes, it's good to have women leading and women teaching now. We have women teachers always. So why not in sports?
Shout out to Becky Hammond. She also was the first woman. Was that a week and a half ago?
She probably better than 50% of some of these coaches out here.
Yeah, shout out to Becky Hammond sponsorship. She coached, took over head coaching duties for the Spurs when Popovich got
tree.
Yeah, Popovich got ejected, and so she was the acting head coach for the rest of that game. And the first
she can't get a head coaching job, but it seemed like a Van Gundy keep getting offered every time I turn around. Van
Gundy and Mark Jackson.
Well, no. I'm gonna just say this: Tyronn Lue. That's what y'all need to know. Tyronn Lue.
Hey, that's how you know black people came up in the coaching world of basketball. The fact that Tyronn Lue gets a job when he don't deserve it.
Yeah,
and that Jarrett willing to criticize him getting that job.
Hey man, Tyronn Lue over here. The only time he got stepped over for a job was when AI did it in game.
That's the only time he's been stepped over.
Yeah,
and he's needed to be stepped over a few times.
Yeah.
Cutty Corner shoutouts. Cutty Corner shoutouts is our segment we end the show with, where everyone gets the floor to rant, complain, or highlight something positive. But it's your opportunity to speak on something that has been grinding your gears, so to speak. Cutty Corner shoutouts. Cutty Corner shoutouts.
It's time.
We're burning now. God, if you listen, hell, so cold and bleeding now. I'm in for this, man. Gonna let you down. He had sex with my mama. We're broken people now. I just said I need a Becky.
All right, Aaron.
Yes.
You have a Cutty Corner shout out?
You know what? Yeah, I do. In fact, I had a couple, right? But then I realized, it's too much negativity now. I remember the space that watching the guys on the Capitol put me in on Wednesday and this and that. Trust me, I had this whole long thing written out. I mean, just long. Just to give you a quick paraphrase, I called those people who committed treason the insurrectionists. I basically said that they spend majority of their time jerking off to that old film Birth of a Nation, masturbating to it. I said masturbating was my exact words, just in case they were women. That's just to sum it up, right? But I was like, that was too hateful. It was dark. I got a real legit one that has to do with sports. My Cutty Corner shout out goes to the Houston Texans ownership. You talk about just a bunch of idiots and just can't get things done. If there's anything that I can tell you, this is that if you're a Raider fan, just be happy you're not a fan of the Houston Texans with that horrible ownership. So let me tell you this. They hired a firm to help them hire a general manager. That's common. That's what football teams do. There's certain firms that everyone in the league uses. They hire that firm that mostly everyone in the league uses. The firm gave them the recommendation. Omar Khan from Pittsburgh, a team that makes great picks. He's the vice president of football operations there. He's coming from a place where they have made great draft picks, do not waste money, great cuts, everything's good. They have not made a bad move. If you're Houston, you want to emulate the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the great franchises who they have only had three coaches since 1969 or 68. Three coaches. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. And each one of those coaches have won at least one championship and played in at least 2 Super Bowls. That's who you want to emulate. They make great moves. They recommend Omar Khan. And what do? Take that recommendation and shit on it. Hire Nick Cassaro, player personnel and player development director at New England Patriots. a guy who has not had a good, successful first, second, or third, or fourth round draft pick in 10 years. One reason Brady left, they were not accumulating no talent. In the first 3 rounds, they've drafted the most wide receivers any team, and only have 2 of them still on the team, and only because they were drafted within the last 2 years. Their best player, Deshaun Watson, came over to him and said, hey, can I get in on a coach hire, right? You think they would. It's their best player, their best offensive player, the only really legit weapon they have on offense. He just made a recommendation. Can you bring in Eric Bieniemy? Can we try to get Eric Bieniemy? What does Houston say? Ownership and Nick Caserio say? Oh, we're not going to bring him in for an interview. He's not on our list. You know what, Jared? So this brings you back. When they took the Clippers away from Donald Sterling for something he said in private on a private conversation that someone taped, I had no problem. I didn't think they should have took the team away from him. He was a bigot. There's a lot of bigots in this world. I got no problem. I'm sure if we go listen to every owner's conversation, at least 50% will be in trouble. But it was a private conversation, right? I don't think what he said was enough to lose his team. But yet we allow idiot, shitty owners like the family that owns the Houston Texans, the McNair family. Remember, the dad's no longer running it. It's the son, Cal McNair. Remember, their dad was the one that went off when Kaepernick and kneeled. And he was the one that went off and said, no one's going to kneel on my team and all kind of crazy shit. And yet we allow people to have teams that run them in horribly and run them to the ground, right? We allow people, the Knicks, the Dolans, the this and that. Those are people who you should be forcing out. Don't get me wrong. Sterling wasn't running that team great, but I mean, he was on the upswing. They had a great team that was in the playoffs. They won that series against the Warriors. He had Doc Rivers as a head coach. Hopefully, if you're a Houston Texan fan, the best thing you can wish for and what you can try to do is go on Instagram, Twitter, slide into some people's DMs, and hopefully you can get V. Stagliano becoming the owner of the Cal McNair's mistress. That's the best way you could go. Tell her there's a lot of sun in Houston, so she can get all the vibes she wants.
I'm Mr. Sterling's right-hand arm man.
Milt, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
I do. Wow. I have my 2 cents about what Aaron just said. I'll keep it short. Initially, obviously, you think about Cutty Corner and everything that happened at the Capitol comes to mind, but I too am going to stray and not let them interrupt this fine programming that you have lined up for us. So, I've been doing a lot of upgrading and updating. I'm still rocking on this PlayStation 4th generation. I'm not quite living the good life as some of the folks out there with that PS5. But one thing about having that PS4 is if you got that most recent duty package and you got that internet access, you're doing okay during the pandemic. And I know you two are no strangers to dropping in. So, I noticed that lately there's been this Cold War integration with this Call of Duty Warzone, this Black Ops Cold War Warzone. 2 separate games. They're like, you know what? Everyone's playing this game anyway. Let's morph them. What could possibly go wrong? And as somebody who is a big gamer, you want quality, you want good connection, you want seamless flow, you want uploading, you just want to play. You know what I mean? And it's been tough that this gaming console, albeit a 4th generation and not a 5th, isn't quite up to the task of handling all the bugs that game is sending its way. And it's trying as best it can, but it's been really tough, man. So as of late, it's been this week, man. I'm like trying to just get on. I've been on Google. I've been looking up certain codes, trying to spell these error codes. It's all the same problem. I'm following these protocols that it's telling me to do online. And it's the simple shit, like, have you tried unplugging it and restarting it? I'm like, that's not taking me anywhere, man. And all this seems like it could have been avoidable. And, I don't want to be super negative, but it's kind of grinding my gears. You know what grinds my gears? Like, I'm just like, fuck you, Activision or whoever it is. But I'm just trying to drop in. I'm just trying to camp like Jared and take, get 1,500 points over the course of a game, becoming third, you know.
Real military tactics, baby. Real military tactics.
It's called recon, and sometimes you got to do it. Yeah, man, I'm just trying to get this game squared away. But on a positive note, because I did appreciate what Aaron said about keeping it light, especially when it's easy to get caught up in the negativity. One of the things I've been doing in this quarantine has been working on my fishing game and getting those the pieces together and getting out and doing that on a regular basis. And if you've been around me, I've probably been in your ear talking about this and that lately, but it's been one of my highlights of this whole pandemic. And as of late, it's been finding something that I didn't really realize I liked as much as I did, and been getting out there. So shout out to Bay Tackle in Richmond, and shout out to anyone who talks to other people who are casting lines where you are, and go get out in nature. It might make you feel better in all this pandemic craziness.
You got to hit up Jason, man. Jason.
Yeah, you got to hit
30
up
seconds. The 30 seconds of Jason. Jason, good.
We'll get Jason on here, and he can hook you up. Jason, what you got to tell him?
Meet me at Antioch Oakley Pier, and we'll talk.
My Cutty Corner shout out goes out to people ordering food. California has been locked down. Restaurants cannot sustain having people eat indoors or outdoors anymore, or ever since the second shutdown or third wave shutdown, whatever we're calling it, right? And so people, if you want to still be able to go to a restaurant, you have to order out and take out. That's all you can do. And last week I decided to do some takeout, and I got there and they're not letting people in. They're letting one person at a time to pick up orders. I happened to stand behind a group of people who didn't bother to call in an order and wanted to stand in line and order in person. So a line starts to develop of people who just want to pick up their motherfucking food because somebody wants to go in there and spend better part of 8 minutes ordering their food and paying for it in person. Hey, guess what? You have a smartphone. I know sometimes orders get messed up online, but we don't have the luxury or privilege to be living that way anymore. So please just order your motherfucking food online. Call in, tell them what you need. Order your food and go pick it up. That way we have less people needing to stand in a line, stand around each other in line, having people walk around and through a line that's blocking part of the sidewalk. Don't sit there and hold up the line because you decided not to plan ahead and order the fucking shit online, or just call in and put in your order. You don't have to order on an app. You can call and order too. Get your shit together. My second Cutty Corner shout out goes out to Twitter. Twitter, you mean to tell me a person in charge of political office, an elected official who has greater responsibilities in our society because they've been elected, because that's where our society works, because that's what the responsibility of having a title works, can spend the better parts of the last 4 years touting, affirming, endorsing, spouting ignorance, divisive speech, hate-laced speech, hate-laced ideologies, and can do that freely. Yet, when I make a joke and say, Drake looks like a High Yellow Freddy Monster from the season 2 DVD cover of Degrassi, I get banned for 12 hours.
Aubrey Graham in the wheelchair. Drake!
Yes!
Y'all talking about the light-skinned nigga from DeGeneres?
And then I make another joke about your boy, Shaquille O'Neal's hairline, and I refer to him as this Negro because sometimes that's a joke. I say, this Negro over here tripping. This Negro over here wilding. This Negro is stupid. They say, this Negro, because I ain't trying to call him a nigga. So I'm saying, this Negro hairline look like tectonic plates because this shit was fucked up. It was funny. People laughed at it. But you're going to ban me for 24 hours for that. And then when I post the title of an episode and I don't even spell the whole N-word, I use asterisks and other things to like let you know this is part of the title of something, of a game we played, which happened to be Nigga, Negro, Necromancer, which is a great game. I get banned completely. We get banned completely from Twitter. So you telling me jokes that are like literally jokes, that are not coming from a place of power, that are not endorsing historical precedences of terror and violence against other people, will get us banned on Twitter? But somebody who actually in a position of power, who has a following, who have people will listen to him, who have people that he doesn't even have to say specifically what to do, he can allude to it and people will follow through with that, which his rhetoric and his tweets and everything else he stood for was building towards or directly saying.
No doubt.
You gonna sit back and say, oh, it's free speech. We're gonna flag it and say this is maybe false because y'all were monetizing his tweets. You were monetizing his following. The traffic coming through your platform was massive because of him. And because of that, y'all decided, let's not do anything about it. We don't want to fuck up the money. And now y'all want to call some moral high ground. Fuck y'all. Fuck all y'all. And everyone that's part of Twitter, fuck y'all too, but thank you for at least signing a letter to get your goddamn stupid ass bearded looking bastard ass CEO to make a real call for once. Because that motherfucker should not have had his account for that long. His shit should have been suspended for 12 hours, then 24 hours, and then permanently banned several years ago. But instead, y'all wanted to monetize and take advantage of that money, and now y'all want to take some moral high ground like y'all the Supreme Court. Fuck y'all. And Supreme Court step in and do something about this bullshit because it's all stupid. And legislatures do something about it because right now we're hitting a precedent where we're allowing social media platforms to become the adjudicators of our constitutional rights. And that is a dangerous place that we are getting to. And that is a dangerous situation that I don't know that we are ready to handle as a society. So we need to get a better hold on what is free speech, what are constitutional rights, and not allowing these private corporations that are monetizing these forms of expression to be able to decide that for us. So fuck you, Twitter, and I will see y'all when I start a new High Score 510 Twitter account because I still need to use your platform, but still fuck y'all.
And I don't think we're really remembering the fourth culprit in all this, the one that really did far too little too late that, you know, we didn't expect much to begin with, right? And to have somebody kind of go along and then after things are decided, then you make your stand. I think for Derek Carr to lead the Raiders and try and win that last game in the NFL Week 17 was just uncalled for.
All right, well, that is our show, my friends. Any final words you'd like to share with us?
I got a final word just because Jarrett, for the Darcy LaPierre to keep us from getting sued again. She only had one husband die while she was married to him. So she is not a black widow.
Okay.
The woman knows how to marry. She is gorgeous, though. She knows how to marry.
Hey, man.
Well, she also knows how to handle money, too.
Yeah. A shout out to her. Sponsorship, please.
She's not Black Widow, just to let you know.
You know, Jart, I had one thing I wanted to put on the radar just because I heard Dabo's name get brought up. And, you know, he did a great job of pleading a case for him being the great humanitarian that he is. But, you know, I was able to go down to Dabo country before the Georgia trip and can confirm that he is in an interracial church. It's not an urban legend. And, you know, with regards to the opportunity at hand with you know, him getting a better perspective on life, I think we're just going to go with some more, you know, campus-based diversity trainings. I think that should really sort things out.
Well, that is our show. Thank you for listening to our show. Please check out our Patreon page at www. I don't have to say www. Anyways, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/highscore510 to get our exclusive content and bonus conversations and our weekly quick hitters. Aside from that, stay blessed, stay healthy, and we will leave you with this. You know, another thing is conspiracy sister would tell you.
I lost it. The had to tie into what you said.
The NFL also just can't sit still. You know, conspiracy sister.
Oh, no.
See, that's why, see, these men nuts busy. See, they got to keep their nuts busy.
You know, so
the NFL.
I was gonna say this: the NFL, it was having this extra wild card game is so powerful. It forced the NBA to put their best matchup game yesterday before the game started. Did you guys realize that there was an NBA game early
like at 10 o'clock in the morning? Or something?
No, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Coast time, right? Saturday. Pacific Standard Time. It was Denver versus Philly. They did that because of this extra NFL game.
You know what? I think it was worth it. I think you had fans going into the last 2 weeks of the season. You had you know, however many percent of teams and fan bases that were involved and still paying attention. And this is what we talked about when they first announced this rule, was that you're going to have people and fan bases in cities that are going to be engaged to the very end of the season. They're watching it intently, and that intent, I think, builds into other forms of revenue. I think it was just a positive all around for the quality of play. That could still be argued, and I think that will TBD. But like, I agree with Pedro, they ain't gonna give up this money, man. They ain't gonna give up this money.
And Jarrett, one thing too that I want to throw out there is, you know, they're on Nickelodeon for a reason too. They're smart, and they wanted an 18-game season. They didn't get it, so they expanded the playoff picture. They're on Nickelodeon, so they can make sure that all the kids who are whatever age range they're targeting are going to have that in the back of their mind going forward. So it's definitely worth it from their perspective. That's clear to me. So that's the one takeaway that I think we're all.
I'm telling you, the NFL is trying to be like that government cheese. Conspiracy sister.
Yeah, you know how they would have them big old blocks of government cheese, that long, thick, just stack of government cheese, that hard cheese. It was good, but when you eat it, it constipates you, run all up in you, lock your bowels up.
Jarrett, you know what, Jarrett? I'm starting to see how you run the show. It might be a mirror into how you are in bed. You shoot your wad early. You had all these great conspiracy sister things lined up. Instead of just spacing it throughout the show, you're going to get it all in the first 10 minutes. I'm going to get it all out in the first 10 minutes. So just, if any women listen to the show, look at that as a mirror into Jarrett's love life, Jarrett in bed action, right? He shoot his wad early.
These men are giving dick away.
He instead of just waiting, bringing it in at a great time and then catching us by surprise, letting us forget about it, and then it hit us, and then we start laughing. They're all early.